Hey, welcome back to Nights and Weekends with me, Marcus, your host. Um, as you can see from the thumbnail, we're talking about Canada. This is going to be short and brief. I live in America, United States, America. That's right. A beautiful, great country, especially if you compare it to other countries, not to a utopia that exists in your head. But a lot of stuff has been going on in Canada, and I wanted to just give my very brief, somewhat educated opinion on it. All right, so we're going to go on ahead and jump right on in. So, Marcus, throw in that first clip of what's going on currently in Canada.
The Prime Minister paid his respects to a late former U.S. president and later attended a committee meeting focused on the massive tariff threat from the incoming president. But Justin Trudeau's return to Ottawa only reignited...
Editing Marcus here. You see how feminine he looks as he touches that frame? Boy, that's a bad look for the country. All right. Back to past Marcus.
Ignited calls for him to resign.
The only reason that our party is threatened with oblivion right now is because the Prime Minister doesn't want to leave.
A growing number of MPs want him to heed the calls to step down.
If I was to be asked for advice, my advice would be to prorogue, resign, basically assist the transition of leadership.
But the Prime Minister isn't revealing what he'll do, even as...
All right, so we got Trudeau. He's on shaky legs, but let's see what's going on in Canada as to why he's on shaky legs. Right. Okay, so this is why he's on shaky legs. And by the way, the folks on the left have been in charge of the Canadian government for about the past decade. So underneath their policies, as we can see here, this is from CBC, which I think is the Canadian Broadcast Corporation or company. Income inequality in Canada has hit its highest level ever recorded as wealth becomes increasingly concentrated in fewer hands, says Canada Statistics Agency. The gap in the share of disposable income between the richest 2/5 of Canadians and the bottom 2/5 grew to 47 percentage points in the second quarter of 2024. That's the widest gap recorded since 1999 when they first started to look at these things. We also have low GDP growth. Now, again, if you compare it to the past, back in the 60s, 8%, GDP growth. Whole lot of growth, but if we can draw a trend line, you would see it's come down slowly. But in 2023, it was 1.07%. And I can tell you, 1.07% will get you kicked out of office because at the end of the day, it's exactly like the Joker said.
See, their morals, their code, it's a bad joke. Dropped at the first sign of trouble. They're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other.
Yeah, that is true. Marcus, find the clip of Alex Jones saying what the hell he would do.
Well, I'm ready. My daughters aren't starving to death. I'll eat my neighbors. See, my superpower is being honest. I'll eat your ass. I will.
Yeah, people will end up doing that. So as we can see there, they have high income inequality, low GDP growth, and just to put them into some type of perspective here, they make about $53,000 a year per capita in 2022. But Canada, as we can see here from the BBC, they have tons of debt. Tons of household debt, almost 108% of their GDP is in household debt. Now, even here in America, where I think sometimes we act like complete and utter idiots, as we can see here, our household debt levels have gone down since 2010. Even in the UK, it's gone down. Germany has gone down. Now, Japan gone up, France gone up, Italy's gone up slightly, but Canada is growing. Now, the reason why is that, I'm sorry, see, this is what I get. This is what I get sometime for messing up. All right, another jump cut there. But one of the major reasons why they are so indebted in Canada, this is from Yahoo Finance. One of the reasons why they're so indebted, we can look at the median home price there. It's $487,000 on an income of about $53,000 to $60,000 a year. Now, I can tell you here at the nights and weekends, hole in the wall basement that I'm so happy I have. But here we make really good money. Our house is half that price. Okay. And as we can see here, compared to in America, ours is $346,000 and we make more money than them on average. So we kind of have to ask, like, what the hell is going on? Why is this really going out of control? So when it comes to this, when it comes to what is going on, the amount of immigration into Canada is shocking, by the way. So people there are getting pissed off because they essentially increased the population of their country by 10% since 2019. And let me put that into some type of perspective here. If we did that here in America, we would have added 33 to 34 million people in the past 5 years. That is not happening. So here we go from Environics Institute. The latest Focus Canada research shows that almost 6 in 10 Canadians believe the country accepts too many immigrants. And that's a 14% increase since 2023, building on a 17% increase from 2022. It's the most rapid change over a 2-year period since Focus Canada began asking this question in 1977. So Trudeau then says, hey, now this is from the AP. Canada will reduce immigration targets as Trudeau acknowledges his policy failed. Now, I'm sorry. Ed and Marcus is going to throw in the clip. This is who those folks voted for in Canada. Throw in the clip of this guy.
Future of mankind. So we'd like you to look
we like to say people kind, not necessarily mankind, because it's more inclusive.
There we go, exactly. Yes, thank you.
We can all learn from each other.
What did he say?
That is who is the prime minister there. Okay. So he is out in leftist loony land. Okay. And this is what he did. He is Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said Thursday that Canada will significantly reduce the number of new immigrants it allows into the country after acknowledging that his country failed to get the balance right coming out of the pandemic. His Liberal government was criticized for his plan to allow 500,000 new permanent residents into the country in each of the next 2 years. On Thursday, he said next year's targets will now be essentially 400,000 and then drop to essentially 400,000 and then 350,000 in 2027. That is not a big reduction here, but in the same article, I wanted to just click here so that you can see the big difference here. He said his government will reduce the number of immigrants Canada brings in over the next 3 years and that it will freeze population growth over the next 2 years. Canada reached 41 million people in April of 2024. The population was 37.5 million 5 years ago. So essentially they added 10% to their population in that amount of time, in 5 years. Now, let me tell you this. It damn sure ain't from them having kids. The average Canadian woman is having 1.3 kids per woman. Okay? So it isn't from them. It's from all the immigrants that they are bringing in, and that pisses off the native population. And when you add 10% to your population in 5 years, and you do not make places for these people to live, housing prices go up. So think about that. In Canada, the average house sale in Canadian dollars is $700,000. And we also want to take a really quick look here. I'm going to move this up. The average tax revenue, as in a percentage of GDP in Canada, is essentially 35%. So over a third of the economy is taken in taxes by the Canadian government at all levels. Here in the U.S. it's a quarter. So we have high taxes, high cost of living, tons of people spilling over the border, low economic growth. That's going to piss off a lot of people. Now, I had wanted to look at the manufacturing output of Canada, because these are the folks who actually build the country. These are the people who help maintain and actually produce the goods and services that we need. So actually, I have a nice inflation calculator here. Let's look here. In 2004, they had $146 billion of manufacturing output. In 2004, I was 23. Let us zoom forward 20 years. It's 149 billion. If you were to adjust that for inflation, they would have to be generating $226 billion just to keep up with inflation, and they aren't. Again, if you have income inequality that's skyrocketing. I don't really have a problem with income inequality, by the way, as long as it's legit and you have the top earners going out there working more hours, making the goods and services that we want, blah 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 blah. That's a good thing. But if the people with lower skills or people who have bullshit, I hate the curse, but bullshit degrees in psychology, early childhood development, blah, 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 that can't make any money and they refuse to get different jobs and do different stuff. If they are not making a lot of money, being competed for with foreigners and high levels of debt, what the hell else do you think is going to happen? Now, just the FYI, I want to take a look at U.S. manufacturing output. 2004, 1.6 trillion. 2021, $2.497 trillion. So at least we've kept up with inflation over that amount of time, even though as a share of our economy, it's gone down from 13% to 10%. But it's nothing like it is in Canada. So let me zoom back in here on myself. I told you this would be nice and quick. If you import 10% of your population who are foreigners, you also don't have a lot of manufacturing going on. You also have high cost of living and high inflation and high amounts of debt and a high tax burden. This is what you get. Okay. So I hope that Justin Trudeau gets out of office. Hell, I freaking hope that the U.S. makes it the 51st state. Who knows? But that is what's going on in Canada. All I can say is that I hope that they vote in different people that will set up different policies that make life easier on the average Canadian. Hopefully, future U.S. citizen Canadian. All right. See you in a week. Bye.